Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the IRON Diaper, which is your irregular Gundam news show. And basically when one of these drops, it means we've got some Gunpla news. And I'm not going to beat around the bush, I'm going to get right into it. Everything you see in this video will eventually go up for pre-order on HobbyLink Japan. They sponsored the channel, so there is a link down there in the description if you want to buy some Gunpla and support the channel at the same time. I'll also mention all the news from this particular video will be from the Bandai hobby site itself, so from Bandai's mouth themselves. And I've one question as usual for you guys. Are you excited about what's coming out? If you are, drop it in the description, or are you a little bit disappointed? Let me know why. Anyway, here we go. So jumping right on into the news, and we've got a bit of a double-barrel treat this weekend, which is the Hobby Next Phase Autumn of this year, as well as the All Japan Model and Hobby Show 2022, where we got tons of announcements. And I'm going to jump right into number one, which is the brand new Master Grade Ver. So the main news is the new Master Grade Ver has been announced, and that right there is the Zeta Gundam. To me, this looks absolutely incredible. It's not what I was hoping for, but what they've said about it has gotten me really excited. I know a lot of people are a little bit disappointed that it doesn't look overly Verkai, and there is a little bit of a blurb from Katoki himself right here that does mention that he wanted this to look like it did in the anime, and most of the effort is actually put into the transformation, which animation-wise or lore-wise never had a full, real explanation to how it happened, so it's always been down to interpretation, and they're trying to do it the best way this time. So point one was they want to keep it as anime accurate as possible, and to a degree it is. It does look a little longer, less thick than what we're seeing in the image right there, but it's looking pretty cool. We've got some extra added details on this, including the vortex generators on the chest, which is very double Zeta Verka. A lot of nice cuts in the armor into the inner frame, like on the front skirting there, and the sides of the feet, looking nicely detailed, but still not too far from the anime itself. They put extra effort into making sure that the face looks beautiful from every angle. We've got color separated Vulcans, a nice gray segment around the eyes there that looks very dynamic. Like I mentioned, vortex generators on the chest. They put effort into keeping the vents pointing downwards, which apparently is something they haven't done in a long time, in 40 years apparently. And we've got some little gifs right here of what this transformation is going to look like. So there's a lot going on here. The chest segment can actually stretch out, which is apparently what helps maintain the downward-facing vents. They apparently have invented a new mechanism that they've patent-pended to stop the head from moving inside the chest. Can't wait to check that out. And honestly, there's just a whole bunch of sliding and moving parts in this. Hopefully it remains solid, but I'm looking forward to this. The legs don't just go into that lightning bolt shape that they always used to. There's a lot of parts moving inside of it, and it looks like it might not be as difficult to get that shield attached onto this like it was with the 2.0. We also have a bit of a transformation simulator right here. We can actually drag it across the screen and watch this transform. So yeah, this particular kit is all about the transformation. As for the Master Grade Ver Zeta Gundam, that's coming out next February at 7,150 yen. So the next massive release is a brand new line of Gunpla, which is Master Grade SD. This is essentially what we all thought it was going to be, a Master Grade equivalent of an SD kit. They've definitely pulled out all the stops on this. So there we go. It is the Master Grade SD Freedom Gundam. We've got so much detail going on here. It's got a full inner frame, and they seem to be specifically focusing on articulation and looks with this particular kit, which makes me extremely happy. Now, I'm going to stop this right here and mention one thing. I don't know what they're doing with the hands here, but these look like the old school Master Grade hands. Hopefully they've done something about the tab in the hand so they hold on better, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, this thing looks absolutely ridiculous. They've definitely extended all of the proportions on this particular SD, making it look a little bit like those NX Edge figures. So it's not as small, or should I say like large head to small body proportions we're used to in an SD. This is somewhere in the middle. Once again, like we were expecting. So a lot of these little GIFs and pictures here are showing us a lot of detail about expansion joints and joints with multiple points of articulation. Arms can expand so they can bend more. The neck can move a little bit more than it would before. The arms can slot out so they can move up and down. Basically, a lot of combating what would have been the issues with the articulation on SD kits before. By making it longer, by making it expand in areas, that does mean this kit can pull off a lot of crazy poses, even though it does have those super deformed proportions. This thing looks absolutely ridiculous, and to me, this might be my favorite announcement out of everything that we've seen so far. There's a lot going on here. There's an image of the entire full skeleton. We are missing a little bit in the forearms, but it's to be, well, expected a little bit in something so small. It is 115 millimeters tall, so it is still shorter than, or maybe around the same size as your average high grade. There's some cool new gimmicks here. We've got a lot of detail in the eyes, which clear parts layer over. Some reflective technology in the clear parts, so we get a little bit more light reflecting out. And we've got some metallic luster parts as well to actually give it a little bit more of a multifaceted look on the various Vulcans and the vents on the body. We get the usual suite of Gundam weapons, and on the whole, I have to say I am very, very excited. So as for when this will be coming out, it's January next year at a retail price of 4,290 yen. So this seems like it's a fully featured kit. So third in the list is we've got a whole new bunch of Witch from Mercury kits announced. Let's check them out. So right there's the overview of what we're about to be looking at. So I have to admit, I'm a little bit shocked by the designs we're seeing coming out. These are a lot more build divers than I was ever expecting. I thought we'd be seeing more like the Gundam Rubris or the Gundam Aerial, but it seems like this has a real Gundam build divers vibe. Let's check them out. So first up is the Full Mechanics Gundam Aerial. This I was not expecting whatsoever. We'll be seeing this in March, so that's a, well, January, February, March, big releases coming out next year, which is cool. This will be costing about 4,180 yen, so not too expensive. It is a 1/100 kit around the size of a master grade. One of the main points they're really focusing on with this particular list is some metallic coated parts underneath clear parts for all those different segments we're seeing all over the Gundam Aerial. How this will turn out in comparison to the cool holographic effects we've seen on the high grade is yet to be seen. There are a few images on Bandai's own Twitter of what this will look like, and the overall kit for a 1/100 is looking extremely nice. And it seems like the surface of those particular red glossy parts do catch the light, whereas the darker recessed parts are shaded out, so it looks like this is going to work extremely well. Some information on the shield made out of those gun bits. Apparently we've got 11 pieces making that up. The detail on this does look incredible. Bandai's Full Mechanics kits recently have been great, and honestly, this looks even nicer than the high grade, so I'm really holding out for this. Variants transformation gimmicks, of course, on those gun bits. You can buy a sold separately display base for using with these particular bits, which is cool. And it looks like we're going to be having some very nice articulation, especially in regard to moving parts. We've got some interesting knee bending going on, which Bandai seems to really like on this particular kit for some reason. There's the weapons, so pretty similar to what we would be seeing with the high grade as well. Swappable style fingers, which look kind of similar to what we see with the master grade seed kits. I'd be curious as if to they are compatible or not. And once again, that Full Mechanics is out March next year, 4,180 yen. So on to the next set of high-grade Witch from Mercury kits. First up here, we've got the Michaelis. This is out in January, coming in at 1,760 yen. Very similar looking to the Beggar Boo that we would have seen before, especially in the body section around the joints with those very Eldora-looking build divers joints in the legs there with the clear parts on purple. Once again here we're seeing a very nice looking design, almost reminiscent of a 30-minute missions with less of the surface detail and more nice slick proportions in general. This particular mobile suit features a weapon on its right arm that has multiple modes. I'm not sure if that's stickers we're going to be seeing inside of that, I assume it will be, but this is a pretty cool looking weapon. Over on the other arm we do have a shield with beam effects, kind of similar to what we would have seen on the Beggar Boo. And there's an actual image of the finished model kit from the actual event from Bandai themselves, so looking pretty good. Once again, this is coming out in January at 1,760 yen. Next up, when it comes to the high grades, it looks like the Beggar Boo is back, this time as the Beggar Pente. Once again, this is out in January at 1,760 yen, and definitely looks like a companion suit to the high grade we just saw. This is rocking one massive awesome cross shield, a huge over-the-shoulder rifle. The color scheme almost completely switches round back, using a lot of maroon plastic, a lot of purple round front. Again, we've got some moving gimmicks in these weapons. That cross shield can open up, store some kind of beam saber round back, and we've a moving handle on that big old cannon. Some rotation on those drives round back. And once again, from Bandai's Twitter, there's an image of what the finished model kit will look like. Once again, looking extremely nice. And again, out in January, 1,760 yen. So definitely a shift in designs for the next one right here. This is the high-grade Zowart. And when I saw this first, the image over on Twitter when the event was on, I legit thought this was another Full Metal Panic suit, not actually a Witch from Mercury, so the design shift here is quite obvious. So this isn't rocking the same sort of over-the-top weaponry we would have seen on the last two kits. This is a very simple weapon, and in general, it does look like a very simple yet bulky suit. I am digging this. I'm going to assume it's almost like this series' version of the Jegan. A lot of these particular kits seem to be shown the joints and how they work. I'm not sure how compatible these will be with each other, but they're looking pretty good. A cross section of the mobile suit itself, which is always really cool, showing what's going on inside of it. We've got multiple joints to make sure we've got an ab crunch, at least to the back. Beam rifle around in the back of the arm. This looks like it can actually pivot out for use. And when it comes to the rifle with this particular kit, it is absolutely and utterly tiny. Once again, there's an image of it from the event, looking very, very nice, and you might be noticing that this is up on something that looks a little bit like a base jabber. And this right here is the high-grade Tick Balang. So yeah, essentially this is this series version of a base jabber, and I love this to bits. I love a good base jabber. This is a lot of fun. It really gives this a real grunt sort of vibe, as in this mobile suit cannot go for very long and it needs its transport. This is cool. It can be mounted up top or down below. Apparently that actual base right there is sold separately. We've got some moving parts as the handles up top, a sliding gimmick to allow you to get to that peg hole right there. This actually looks like it is actual functioning landing gears, as in not parts formations, which is pretty cool. And finally we do have some moving thrusters as well. The Zowart itself will be coming out in February at 1,760 yen, and the same month we will be seeing the Tick Balang at 1,430. Get them together, you have to. So a return to that Beggar Boo style mobile suit. This right here is the high-grade Hindori. Again, looking like a Beggar Boo, this time in a kind of almost green on purple. We've got some almost tall geesey kind of shields on this. We've got a shield on both arms. This looks like a very defensive suit. The shield does seem to have a moving gimmick, so it can move out in front of the fist. We've got a rotation gimmick on whatever that other weapon is there, that kind of shield, lance, rifle combo. The general build of this does seem once again like the Beggar Boo we would have seen already, so simple but effective. And besides that, there's not much other information on this particular high grade. So next up, we've got a couple of high-grade actual Gundam announcements from the Witch from Mercury. Now, first off, I have to say, this right here, the Gundam Rubris Ur, that to me 100% looks like Core Gundam is in there. This looks like a Core Gundam variant. This straight up looks like a Bill Divers design, 100%. That looks like, I don't know, some kind of variant of Gundam Yurevin or Nepdate or something like that. So this is one big, bulky Gundam right here, and I assume this is the long-range heavy support version, considering we've got a huge cannon up on its back and a Gatling up front. As for why this actually has the Gundam Rubris name, I have no idea. It doesn't look like it has anything in common with that kit whatsoever. So this looks like it's going to be a 100% brand new mold of a kit, because I've not seen any of these parts before. The vast majority of its weapons seem to be stored in its shield, including its beam sabers, that Gatling, and we do have some extra hands in the box, which is always a nice plus. Now, I'm not sure if Bandai didn't actually post any pictures of this from the event on their Twitter, or they just did not have it added, because all I have is these images right here, which just show what the two Gundams look like. So at the moment, I don't actually have any actual pictures of what these kits look like. The Gundam Rubris Ur will be out in March at a hefty-ish 2,090 yen. And speaking of high-grade Witch from Mercury Gundams, now this one, I don't know how I feel about this particular design. I did mention on Twitter that the award for ugliest Gundam ever goes to this, but I have a feeling by the time I have this built, it's probably going to be my favorite. I always have that full 180-degree change of opinion on a mobile suit once I build it anyway. This right here, as referred to online as the Gundam Rebake Half Village, is also known as the Gundam Rubris Thorn. So yeah, once again, this to me looks like another Gundam Bill Divers style kind of design, like some kind of Core Gundam again inside of that. This has a really cool, again, kind of rebake color scheme. The proportions are off the charts entirely. That super wide upper body, narrow waist, huge chickeny legs. We've got some kind of thruster around back, which is absolutely massive, ridiculously long arms. And when it comes to the weapon in here, this is an absolutely gigantic sort of beam cannon. Once again, this does seem to be featuring some similar build aspects to the other Gundam we just looked at, so I'm wondering if there will be a kit bashable or almost lower canon kind of combination of these particular suits and their elements. I'm really looking forward to seeing if they'll do anything with that. And when it comes to the weapons and equipment, that is shield, beam cannon, and we do have alternate hands, which is also a nice plus. Once again, there is no actual images of this particular kit just yet, but this is also coming out in March, and it's not as expensive. I guess it's a smaller kit at 1,760 yen. From here on out, it's just a bunch of high-grade option parts, so I'm going to go through these quite quickly. We've got the high-grade Mirasol Flight Unit. This comes out at 880 yen in January. This is for using with the Gundam Aerial. This was actually on display at the event. It's just a simple backpack. Apparently this also comes with an extra set of widespread open hands for using with the Gundam Aerial. I assume you can use those with the Rubris as well. We've got some beam sabers stored in that, and it looks like it has a nice amount of articulation too. Pretty cool. Next up, we've got some bases for using with the gun bits that are, well, a very important aspect of the show, it seems. This particular stand will cost you 550 yen, which is not so bad, out in January. And this can be used with pretty much everything. There it is with the high grade, with the Gundam Rubris, and I'm pretty sure they show this with the full mechanics as well. So lastly, then we've got a bunch of Gundam decals for using with the various different high grades. That's the Aerial, all the way through all of these kits. So it's just Gundam decals, very nice of course, but it sucks that we have to wait all the way till March to get them. But still, always look better. Kits that is, when you got those decals. So before I drop down here to the other announcements, which I'm going to gloss over really quickly, there is a bunch of premium Bandai announcements too that just aren't on this site. So let's hop over to that Twitter and check them out. First up, we're getting a brand new Master Grade Age Kit. Is it the FX? Is it the Age 3? Nope, it's just the Age 1 Normal again. Or is it? This is the Master Grade Age 1 Full Glancer, which I have to admit I am super hyped about. There's two versions of this, of course, which is always the case when it comes to an add-on. So this is an add-on for the normal Age 1. The normal Age 1 Normal. So you can buy this in two ways. You can buy it as a collector's color in a box with an Age 1 in there, so the Age 1 will be kind of color shifted a little bit, and then you can buy a separate full Glancer unit for using with your Age 1 Normal or a both separately standard Age 1 Normal. So options. The next one is this. I never thought this was going to happen. This is a high-grade version of the N-Gage Zero. Actually, stepping back a little bit, the full Glancer does not have a release date or a price just yet, but they're taking pre-orders this month. As for the high-grade N-Gage Zero, this will be coming out... Actually, I don't know, I can't read that, it's blurry as ass, but it will cost 2,750 yen. This, of course, is from the mobile game Gundam Engage. The Gundam Eclipse is getting another P-Bandai pack, this one being the Eclipse Rising. Once again, you can buy this with the Eclipse included for the full unit and backpack for around 9,000 yen, or you can just buy the backpack. The backpack being 3,520 yen, both of which out in November, which is next month. I'm not sure if this was just announced or not, but it is kind of cool. This month at the Gundam base, you're actually able to get a high-grade version of the Gundam Estray Red Dragon. So a high-grade version of the Gundam Estray Red Dragon. I assume the standard revived version of the Gundam Estray with the Red Dragon parts. So Gundam base exclusive, and it's 3,740 yen. And finally then, those non-Gundam announcements, which I'm going to gloss over really quickly. We've got an upcoming 30-minute missions kit, which is a version of the Spinatio with a little bit of a demonic vibe. We've got some new 30-minute sisters, once again with a demonic vibe. A figurized standard of the new Shin Kamen Rider, which is from the new movie Shin Kamen Rider. This one I'm super excited about. We're actually getting a Hookbine Mark II from Super Robot Wars, which is the most Gundam-y looking non-Gundam robot around. Sadly though, this is a premium Bandai exclusive. Next up we are getting and honestly I don't get all that excited about non-mecha model kits that often, but I do when they are Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're getting a model kit of Blue Eyes. Awesome. Macross fans rejoice because we are getting a high-grade YF19 from Macross Plus, which has the full 3-point transformation. That of course is the robot mode, Gerwalk, and the plane. And it's a high grade. That is cool. Besides that then, more Pokepla, some more Digimon Pla, which is Angemon, some weapons for using with your high-grade Kyokai Senki kits, some more tools from Bandai, some basics. I don't know what a Vifam is, I probably should, but these look like older kits re-released. A Golden Mazinger, and some interesting customized materials for using with your, well, it says 30-minute missions, but you can always use these with Gunpla. So we're going to be seeing wires, varnish tube. So if you want to wire up your kits, you can do that. This is handy because I've always wished these were sold separately. I'm going to stock up on these. Some hole covers for the 30-minute mission kits in 3 different types. Jewel stickers. These are something I've been collecting, the leftover, like the outer paper from these jewel stickers just to cut them out into shapes, but now we're getting them for sticking onto your kits. These are awesome. Also some lenses. These are over the top with an actual kind of like crosshair pattern in them and different patterns. That's cool. What seem to be like little acetate effect parts for using with your kits. We've got some wings that look like insect wings, something that looks like a spell being cast. So yeah, a lot of nice simple effects. A chain, that's cool. So yeah, with those you can level up your 30-minute missions, and that is pretty much it. Again, so once again, as usual, drop it down there in the comments. Are you excited or disappointed? And if so, what are you excited about or what are you disappointed by? For me, I'm super excited about the Master Grade SD. That is the top of the list for me. Of course, I am super excited about the Master Grade Ver Zeta Gundam as well. That transformation looks over the top, and hopefully it will be the best, most solid Zeta ever. Anyways, always, thank you so much for watching. I'll drop some links down there if you're looking to do some shopping or to look into any of these kits a little bit more for yourself. And as usual, I will see you next time. As always, this video and every video would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches my videos. And special thanks to those of you who are supporting me over on Patreon and on the channel members, including Caleb Engelhart, Global Frequency Studios, Go Little Rockstar, Gunpla UK Limited, Joe, Kill Me Inc., Lauren Seahack, RG59061, and Van Fawn.